All right. Well, looks like we're doing just fine today. Everything looks to be on and popping. Mic's on. Everything's on. Everything looks good. Hey, I did good. Sorry, I was a little sick, guys, for a couple of days. And I mean, like, that was one of the all-time worst illnesses I've ever had. I kept thinking I was going to be okay, and then I wasn't. It was rough. It was very strange. Anyway, I hope you guys had a great weekend. I did finally recover, and so we're back here now, ready to do just a little bit of painting, which is great. So that's what we need. That's what we do here, right? We paint things on the internet for the enjoyment of people that care to watch. I have a studio where I paint these things. I do these as commissions, a lot of them. So. And occasionally it's my own stuff. Hasn't been lately, which is great. That's actually it's like the best thing you could have a problem with, is that you're actually working on stuff instead of, working on your own goof off, whatever. Anyway, what are we doing? Oh yeah. Oh, let's talk about this real quick. I was gonna mention this whenever the last day of that show was. I don't even remember. I've been so sick, I don't even remember when the last day I was on. But I remember I was trying to show you guys this thing that my friend Dave sent me. It is really, really cool. Dave's an old friend of mine and a big fan of the channel. So big shout out to Mr. Cunningham. But he got this. He bought some dice, and he got this with the dice. So he's like, oh my god, I gotta send this to Pat because it's too awesome not to send to Pat. Because it is, in fact, Pat the bartender, which is fun. So, it says, welcome to Kyle's Tavern. No adventuring campaign would be complete without the addition of everyday man, woman, and child. Whether it is a friendly barkeep, a rough and weary blacksmith, or a ferocious toddler whose parents were just weren't paying attention. The Kraken Collectibles Villager series is a great addition to any campaign scenario. So this is by Kraken Dice. Super cool. Game box. Fun guy. So yeah, this is definitely it's formed plastic. You can see where the line is right here. So if we want to mess with him, we'll have to do some work getting cleaned up. His arms are a little bit strange, a little beefy looking. Even like beef, like I've got a pretty beefy little arm, but wow, this guy's like beef cake. He's got short hair, but he does have a beard like mine. Well, sorta. I mean, it's a beard, so close enough, right? So we could be, we could definitely paint this guy up. It's gonna be fun. It's a neat little thing, especially to get it with some. You got it with some dice. That's pretty cool. And it's not bad. It's not. It's better than those. What was it? The Princess Bride miniatures we got from that board game. Those were not as. This is a much better product. So, and the mold line's not bad. It's pretty easy, pretty self. Contained onto a pretty good, and it's all one shot, so just a mold, easy peasy. We'll take care of that one of these days when we get down on all these other projects. For now, he can come sit over there with all the other stuff I've accumulated. Anyway, big shout out to Dave, and thank you so much for that piece. I'm excited to get rolling on him. We will get there eventually. Looks like our palette went and bled together, which, with the situation we got going on here, that's not a bad thing. We're gonna do that anyway. We're gonna make some grays and some whites and all that sort of stuff. So that's all right. We really need some white today, though, because what we need to do is we need to finish this stuff under here, because you could in fact see it. We're just going to put one quick run of this little dry brush through here. I'm not trying to get in between the folds of the hair. I'm just trying to kind of get on the tops. I want those folds to stay that brown gray color. I need this other stuff to start whitening it up just a touch. And we're going to come back and we're going to trace this with a brush. To make it look more like individual hairs. Be super careful. I know it looks like I'm smashing this brush on here really hard, but I'm really not. I'm just very targeted because I've done this a lot, so I kind of used to it, I guess. Used to the feel of it, you know. Makes it a little bit easier on me because I can just I know where I'm going, and I'm used to prints. I've painted a lot of prints at this point, so I'm kind of used to the stress they can take. All right, that lightened it up just enough. Because we don't even want it too dark gray. We want it to lighten up just a touch. Okay. Alright, so the next thing we'll do is we're going to turn on some music. That's what we're going to do. I'm a dweeb sometimes. There we go. That'll help. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is these don't have to be super in order or anything. You may want to get some fresh white. This may be too wet. I might even get some ink, but ink would be shiny, so we may not want to do that. But we'll probably want some of this little bit white that's just a little bit stickier. I don't know why I got that out. I don't know what I was doing there. I think I'm still kind of recovering. Yeah, that's what we want. Way out of. Ooh, yeah, there we go. That's better. Still trying to get exactly onto the exact right camera angles are. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting more comfortable painting. you just kind of start these lines from down somewhere and bring them across. And they don't have to all be perfect, and they don't have to all be pretty. We can kind of keep layering them in. Just occasional. And what this is going to do is going to create the illusion of individual hairs over time. It is a tedious process, though. It's a great exercise in learning how to just grab the tip of the brush onto the object. It'll help you get used to how a particular brush works. And if you wanted the hairs, if you want it to look finer, and we may want to do that after this dries up, we'll just get a finer brush out and make them even finer. Because his hair on the top of his head is stark white, so we really get the opportunity to kind of work here. And this gives us a little bit, when you come in with the brush and do this part, you got a little more control. So many of those places that maybe we weren't able to quite get with our other brush, this is going to help us get there. And it's a subtle difference. It's something that you might not even really, the camera may not quite pick all the subtlety out of this for us, for you to actually see it, but this is one of those moments where your old scratchy brush is actually pretty handy. A lot of people like to airbrush. I think sometimes I feel like we get too into using airbrushes. Mine is still not functioning properly. Something happened to the valve on the inside of the trigger. I think the gasket has gotten, I think the gasket's old. I've had it for a while. We're just still kind of trying to run these streaks in here. Really fix into these spaces where maybe that dry brush couldn't quite get in there. This part up here is so tangly. that it almost requires coming through with this individual brush and working these pieces. Now I suppose you could have just gone all the way up with the stroking each individual hairs in and layered it all in that way. That's a way you could have gone. I don't know if that's actually, I don't know how much of an effect difference that's going to actually give you in the end. I feel like getting your base colors down and then doing it works better. But there's a lot of opinions, you know, everybody's kind of got a different idea of what looks good, what they like their stuff, and that's what's so cool about it. There's so many styles out there. And I can mimic styles, you know, and you can too. Just kind of learn how to do a specific style and just mimic it. You know, some people create their own. A big thump outside. I don't know what it was. Let's give him a slightly. Let's look at that little guy. Just for funsies. That was my middle. Alright, now we should really be starting to see these little lines kind of starting to come through. And the thing with hair is it's going to kind of whip and wrap, so like you can kind of, when you're coming back through with these other ones, we're just kind of coming over each other a little bit here and there, just kind of wrapping it around. It is hecka tedious. It takes a long time, but it looks great when it's done. And I mean, and you can skip this step, really. This is just kind of me playing around with it. I like to get the start down here at these bases and move out. And you could, if you just wanted to do a few of those, that's what I would recommend. I would recommend you come in, do these ones up here in the front, give them that little bit of streaks, movement, give them some play, and then go on. Because again, it's not really an absolutely necessary part to this. You could have just painted, you could have put more white and maybe hit it with the dry brush a second time. Lots of different options. I just think it looks better if you kind of set some of these brush strokes in there, and you're just trying to kind of follow the hair. And this is the part where you're letting your brush stroke kind of help work with the model. Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but it's totally worth it. And especially with a situation like this where it's going to let me get deeper down in there. Just put that little one stroke in there and leave it. And this is just so in case anybody really goes prowling around on the sculpture, they can get a good look at it, you know. What's so crazy now is can you tell which ones were the ones we replaced? That's where it gets really crazy. Google wanted to message me about something. I have no idea what. Feels like a scam, maybe. I'm also going to try to use this detail brush to kind of maybe get in some of these holes. Lighten that up a little bit. Look a little less obvious. And those are just pock marks from the process of resin printing. There's a lot of supports that go on them, and those supports leave little things, pock marks, holes, whatever you want to call it. And I highly recommend you just kind of keep going with the motion of the hair with your strokes. Just kind of keep pulling it out from the front out and down the hair. And the thing with this is you're layering up these strokes. So like if they're going one direction now and you felt like you kind of made a misstroke, you're going to come back and you're going to hit it up again. So it's okay. I'm excited to have this one done, but I'm gonna miss it because it's really neat. I've painted a lot of really cool models in my time. This one's gotta be, it's gotta be up in that top 10 pretty easily. These are really neat peas. God, you almost want to finish this head today. What are we gonna do to finish this head? What does it even look like? What time is it? Only about 28 minutes in. I don't know. Let's power through. Maybe we can get his whole head finished, which would be great. So we get his whole head finished, then we can get on to the attaching it and what that's going to entail. And like I said, sometimes you're gonna get that perfect shot. Like I did that one really. I got that one really good. It's a good shot. But sometimes you're just not, and that's okay, guys. Really, just kind of keep working at it, and don't stress it. It's gonna look great anyway. So we're just gonna keep layering this in and layering this in and layering this in. And it's gonna look more and more proper, you know. And this is one of those things where we're totally taking advantage of white's natural property in that it kind of fades on you. And that you have to, in order to get white to look white, you have to layer it. So by doing it in this way, it builds up those layers. It builds up that texture automatically because you know, we're just following the curvatures of this hair over and over again. Try to go the direction of the hair. You know, with a 2D you can do that every time. It's easy. 3D it makes it a little bit more difficult. Sometimes you have to go the opposite direction, but try not to have to do that. the best thing to do is to just kind of, you just kind of zen out. You wanna just follow the little bits and kind of go. It's, when I very first started doing it, I used to have this tendency where I would accidentally overstroke it. Like I would put too many, and I'd cover it up too much, and so it just got to where it was all the same color, and you didn't have the lines. And I get better all the time. I get better at just maybe putting in a line and then going back to something else. And sometimes I have to like make myself keep moving and almost relearn it, because we all have the tendency to look at it and be like, oh, it's messed up, and try to do something immediately. But with this situation, you don't. You kind of want to let it come back to it after it dries and just do another one. It works out that way when you do this. The only advantage is to having a bigger model like this is you can do these sort of things. You can't do this on the little itty bitty scale. You have to use tricks. I suppose you could probably do this with a fan brush. That might be interesting. That might yield interesting results. Although you might end up with it being too much one color. If you took a fan brush and maybe modified it, you could use it for doing hair on like a smaller model. That's an idea. I wonder if that'll work. I keep accidentally hitting that guy. Goodness. It's always be easier to, in my opinion, it's always easier to paint down, but there we go. I finally kind of, it's really hard to get in there. And the good thing is we didn't put too much color into these other under bits, so we just had to we can kind of work a little bit more on its layering, but it's also going to help us get that shadow we want. Because all this is underneath. We still want to at least come through and try and get as much of these picked out as possible. Again, that white's going to fade. It's going to fade down for us eventually. Oof. Okay, now that all that's done over with. Where were we back here? I say done, but I'm probably going to go back and look at it again. God, this thing's so big. How am I going to get there? Okay. I hear my doggo barking, but she can't come in. Uh-oh. I put that right in my coffee cup, butt down. Perfect landing. All right. Man, it's looking so good. Anyway, keep working. One of the things I definitely recommend you do is move your model around several times when you're doing these sort of things. And you kind of need to look at it from a bunch of different angles, because I always feel like I'm going to miss. I always like I get halfway through this and I'm like, oh shoot, I missed a little spot. And I don't know that it changes like the larger a model gets or not. Maybe it does. Maybe like with this guy, there's a lot more to miss. So I feel like I'm definitely on this one. I'm always missing something. That's kind of an odd piece. It's all of it in his shoulder, so you're not going to see a whole lot of it, but the sculpt of it is strange. It doesn't really feel natural. But that's a lot to do with where it's been sliced. Slicing is just a term for how you set the 3D model up to print in your printers. And this is definitely something that I feel like, I get better at all the time. It's something I'm trying to practice more and more. These larger hair techniques it's so much easier on a canvas. With this being like where it goes, things like this where they go in and out, and like the depth of it changes, it makes it a little bit more difficult. You're probably going to see a lot of this because of where it's at, but that's all right. This looks like an error, but with it being a hair, it's definitely not gonna hurt anything. Okay. Whew. Golly, he's got a lot, and I mean a lot of hair. think my phone turned off on us. You just kind of keep trying to pull those strokes down through things. Don't stress it. We already put a lot of that base coating in to help us do this. And so the idea is just kind of keep pulling it through. Some of it you can make random lines, you can make hashes, you can whatever kind of feels right. You're just going to come through and kind of layer up these bits over and over and over again. And eventually it starts to look something like hair. Let's see. Yeah, that hair's getting wider and wider. And seeing what we're trying to do is not lose all the little detail in it. Because there's so much hair that you want to kind of keep working it. And we want to make each of those braids seem like they have multiple, or not braids, they're not braided, locks. That's what I mean. We need to make sure that these locks look like, you know, individual locks themselves with individual hairs, and it's a process. That one right there, I keep missing this little guy right here. Somehow I keep missing him. There we go. The camera does help sometimes to look at it in the camera, which is kind of fun. I should have done the beard first. A whole lot easier to show this technique on this small scale. But that's okay. You just kind of keep coming with the hair and just slowly pick it out bit by bit. It starts looking really nice. And because of white, like I said, white's property, what it does, and then it fades in and out, it will help us with that task. And I have said that like 100 times this video. It seems like I get redundant. My phone over there reminded me I should turn on some music. Get a little caught up in this. I really enjoyed this run through these figures. I can't wait to get to this next one. It's so crazy. I get done with one and there's one like right behind it. Oh, I wonder how far away. What time is it now? Oh man, we are. We're at the time to start wrapping it up. That's what we are. I've been Pat. You guys have been the audience. It's been awesome to have you. I hope you guys had a good time. I had a good time. I was hoping to get further than that. I might work on getting this guy finished up tonight because it's a bunch of the same over and over and over again. So I might do this head and tail, between tonight and tomorrow. So you guys don't have to watch every single stroke of this because it gets tedious. Anyway, and that way we can come back tomorrow and it'll look good. That's good stuff. We're moving right along. We're going to get there. It's all going to be gravy. Anyway, I'm glad I'm feeling better. I got a whole hour in today on the live, which was fantastic. So, I'm going to catch you guys in the next episode. I hope you have a good day. Bye.